Hey, I'm here with Jenna.
Hi.
And we're going to talk about how to correct a dog effectively so they understand, because we make two big mistakes and it really is a two-step process. So the first step
Is to make like a loud clap or something before they do it.
so it's stopping the thought of them doing it before they do it. Timing is everything. So if they're already on the couch or their nose is already in the garbage or they already got in the garbage, people say, oh, my dog knew when I came home and there was garbage all over the floor that they did the wrong thing. They knew they shouldn't get in the garbage. But really, what they know is when you came home, you were mad and upset, and they felt that energy, and that's why they went into the other room, or that's why they went in the kennel. There was no processing of, oh, I'm in trouble because I got in the garbage. But the first most important thing is timing and correcting them before they do it. So it's stopping the thought of doing it, stopping them before they chase the cat, the minute they see it, stopping them before they bark at the people walking by, stopping them before they get in the garbage. And it's just a sharp clap and a
no.
And a no. No. Interrupt the thought. That's the most important thing, the thought of doing the improper behavior, whatever it is you don't want. Second part.
Stand and stare.
Stand and stare. Stand your ground. You've got to let them know what you mean, and you mean business. So if you only do the first part and turn around and walk away, they're going to be like, that wasn't that uncomfortable, and they're just going to keep doing it. So you have to almost claim it in a way. I know that sounds silly, but so let's say they go to smell the garbage and you know they're going to grab that bacon wrapper or whatever. You catch them before they grab it. You clap and no, so that gets their attention. You need to now go. You know this, you do it all the time. You weren't listening to me, were you?
No.
I already lost Jenna on the video, and she's in the video. Go stand between the dog and the garbage can. Like, claim it and just walk into them and move them off the garbage can. And I just point my finger at them. You don't have to say a word. You just have to have that energy and presence, like, you're not going to do this. And then once they give up, how do you know they give up?
They'll like sigh or look away or turn around or walk away.
Yeah. And then you know, okay, they understood.
Or lay down.
Or lay down, yeah. They may be like, okay. Then they understood perfectly, I'm not allowed to be in the garbage, or I'm not allowed on the couch. If they jump on the couch and you try to clap and no and go try to get them and pull them off, then they jump back on and you pull them back off and you say no.
And you only have 3 seconds to correct before they forget about what you're correcting them for.
That's great too. 3 seconds. If you don't catch them immediately, or if they've already done it. So let's just say you keep pulling them off the couch by their collar because you don't want them on the couch. They think that's the dumbest game ever. They think you're dumb. They're like, what game is this? I jump on the couch, they pull me down. I jump on the couch, they pull me down. And in their mind, they're thinking, the game is I have to jump on the couch 5 times before the human lets me sleep on the couch. They're like, this is the stupidest game ever, but fine. I'll jump on and off, or 5 times. I'll jump on, be pulled off 5 times, and then typically we give up and we're like, oh, the dumb dog won't listen. Fine. It's on the couch again. Just let him be. You're just not communicating effectively. Why is it hard for kids to correct a dog?
I don't know.
You don't know because you don't have this problem.
No.
Think about little kids, like when they come for go home day 2 and they're trying to tell the puppy not to bite or don't jump on me.
It's just like they'll push them down or like, and then it's literally playing.
Yeah. Little kids just don't have the correct energy. You cannot think that a young child will be able to correctly communicate a correction or command that presence with the dog, because just the energy of a young child, the way they move, the way they talk, the way they interact is just like a littermate. So a puppy will treat the child like a littermate, and it's really difficult. So puppies with young children, you have to do that correction. So if the puppy goes to bite at your kid or pull their diaper or pull on their pajamas, you had to correct them before they put their mouth on your child. Do your clap, do your no, and then go stand in between your child and the dog and do the stare until they
sigh or lay down or turn around or,
right,
or look away.
There you got it. You got it. The 2 really, really important parts of correction, and timing is everything. Dogs aren't inherently bad. It's our communication to them. This one's a little bit of could be a hot topic. That is, how much do you spend for a potential breeding dog, male or female, in your program? First of all, there's no way I can talk about everything I have to say in 5 minutes. These shotgun videos are 5 minutes or less. So here's just some considerations and things to think about, because I've seen this pop up in the private group a lot recently, especially with the market just not being as strong as it is. I'm really hoping we'll start to see that changing in the next couple months. But it's always a risk, number one. Number two, things you have to think about are, how soon should you be replacing a dog you know is going to be retired? You really have to think ahead. So ideally, I have found if we're 2 years out from retiring, especially like a main stud, a sire of ours, I'm looking 2 years before that, because I need to find the dog, raise the dog, get the dog old enough to temperament test and health test, and then make sure we have viable swimmers. And so that could, I want to give myself 2.5 years. That's really thinking ahead, and that's really tough, especially with the market being all over the place. Or is that really what you're going to need? Or what if you get to 2 years and they fail health testing and you have to start all over, and then your established male might age out of the program? I'm literally walking that line personally right now. The sire I bought to replace my main standard poodle sire did not work out, and so we're starting back from scratch, and I could run out of time, and then I may be having to, buy and shop around for semen for a while. So it's always tricky. And then there's always these questions of how much should we honestly be paying for a breeding prospect. I will say I'll be more than happy to pay more money if the dog's been fully health tested and is a proven sire or dam. Like if we're past all of that, like they're ready to breed, they've proven themselves, they have the health testing to support it, I would definitely be more open to spending more money. When you're buying a puppy, there's no perfect dog, and it doesn't matter how responsible and ethical the breeder is, things can pop up that there's no way to test for. So, it comes to your risk versus reward. Like, is it really worth spending $6,000 on a puppy or $10,000 on a puppy when any medical issue can go wrong? For one example, I had a female, she just had incontinence issues. There's nothing we could test for that. There was no way to ever know that. And I can't breed a dog with incontinence issues. So the whole thing was such a huge, devastating loss. And all the testing to get to the point of what's wrong for the health of the dog as a pet now, not even anything to do with the breeding program, like switching gears completely and then putting a lot of money into testing and trying to help this dog now with incontinence issues. So even the weirdest things can come up, like even with humans. So it's something I wish I had a golden key, the the ball into the future to say, is this worth the risk? You just have to, what I have done is just try to weigh those options. And then of course, just really, I would much prefer having a more personal relationship with the breeder I'm buying from, if all possible, so that there's some kind of like, hey, number one, either don't charge me $10,000, but if the dog fails, I don't say a word, I spay, I neuter, I find them a home, like we're good. Or if you want me to pay that much, then there has to be some kind of guarantee. If this dog doesn't pass X, Y, and Z health testing, then you got to switch me out for another one. The problem is, do I want one from those same lines? The problem is, what if they don't have one for a year? Then I'm, stuck for another year or two until they can replace it. So, as you can see, buying breeding stock for our program is one of the most difficult, complicated, risky, honestly, stressful things you can do. If there's other things you're thinking of that I didn't bring up in the video, drop it below to help those decide. I've just seen this a lot right now, so I feel like a lot of us are dealing with how much do we build our program in light of the economy and taking all these risks, and what do we really look for, what's important, and it's sitting down and looking at everything, my word, holistically, looking at everything holistically. What's the risk? How big is the risk? And can you take that risk? diabetic alert dogs in children, well, kind of even diabetic alert dogs in general. We used to specialize in producing diabetic alert dogs, and I have learned so much with placing with so many different types of people, and how quickly a dog can unlearn scent discrimination for a couple different reasons. And then if you add the complexity of having a child as their handler, this is just a video of caution, because I think there's so much misinformation out there. And when I talk to parents and I lay all this out, they're like, oh my gosh, we never knew. We're so glad that we know now, because it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and the chances of success, I'm just being honest, is slim. And we think that the dog is still being successful because it's just fake alerting. So just a few things to keep in mind. Number one, if you're considering a diabetic alert dog, how often are you in unhealthy ranges anyway? You can't live in unhealthy ranges and then expect the dog to keep alerting, right? What happens is the dog just learns to paw, gets a treat, you're not checking. It's a lot of work. And I'm just going to be honest, with today's technology, it might be better just to stick with technology than trying to have a trained diabetic alert dog. The other thing, it becomes very interesting. There's lots of different things in the environment that smell like a high or a low. The lotion you use, the soap you use, there's so many things. The candle that's going. The dog's nose is so amazing, but there's a lot of things that can trick it. So then you add that, and if they paw at you and you reward them, you're actually now rewarding them to a scent of something else. And before you know it, the dog has lost its ability to scent discriminate your specific diabetic high or low, okay? It happens really often, and some people don't even realize it. Like, oh, my dog's alerting great. Well, you're probably out of range a lot, or it's hitting on other things. You're not double checking. It's a ton of work to keep that nose so fine-tuned to your specific highs and lows. And to be honest, unless you're a professional dog trainer and or have done scent discrimination work a lot, the chances of it being undone a lot and it being very inconsistent is really, really high, okay? With that all being said, that's why we don't offer diabetic alert dogs anymore, because more chances than not, the chance of failure is really high. And getting them out of fake alerting once they've done it for so long is really, really difficult to do. So now you add a child to it. You as a parent are learning how to manage and mitigate your own child's diagnosis and diabetic highs and lows. You're adding a dog who's not a robot. They have their own needs, and if you're taking them out in public, they have their own gear, equipment, rules, guidelines, tummy aches, food restrictions, vet bills, grooming. You add all of that to it, and then you're trying to keep the dog's nose fine-tuned, so if it alerts, you have to double check and make sure it's alerting correctly or not. And if it wasn't, you have to go back and do some extra additional training to keep it, to make sure it's discriminating the scent correctly. And then people ask, like, oh, they have a kindergartner or a first grader and they want the dog to go to school with them. I am telling you now, no first grader, no second grader, no third grader can be responsible for a dog's needs plus do schoolwork. And the aide shouldn't be responsible for the dog. And the teacher shouldn't be responsible for the dog's needs, stress levels, potty time. We are forgetting about the dog in all of this. I think there's a lot of misinformation and glamorization of service dogs in general, where they should be working all day, where they can be going to school all day. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but the situation has to be so well thought out and everybody on board. And the person has to be able to have the time, effort, energy, and ability to continue the training of the dog past placement. This is a living free will being. A dog has its own mind and its own needs, and those have to be met and thought of first and foremost. So here's just my 2 cents about diabetic alert dogs. Proceed carefully. Make sure you have a lot of time, effort, energy, of the ability to keep scent discriminating. You have the time to be packing around a dog on top of a child, if that's the case. Or if you're an adult, that's another thing. Just a lot of things to consider, and why it's just not the most successful thing, and why it used to be so popular and it's just not now. There's a reason why. Thanks for riding shotgun with me today. Bye.